power doesn't matter unless you use it for good.
It's great to see you today on the Raven's Nest, finding hope and spirit in these interesting times. And don't forget to subscribe.
Well, some of my words about it. One of the things is I heard a fantastic interview of AOC, and
Mm.
she was talking about how that um, she's not interested in the title or the office. She's interested in the opportunity. And how does one go about using whatever power they get to make the world a better place?
Mm.
That it doesn't, that being the president of the United States doesn't matter unless you make the world better for poor children. And it doesn't matter unless you make the world better for retirees, or unless you make the world better for the have-nots.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a wonderful, I'm not saying it nearly as eloquently as she
Yeah,
said.
anyone, if you haven't seen it, go watch. She's brilliant.
Yes, yeah, she's
she's really,
brilliant.
she's really
And
shining.
so when I see statements like that from people who are new to politics, because she's relatively new to politics, and people who are feeling motivated to get into politics. And so I do see this hope there that despite all of the maneuverings and all of the chicanery and all of the jostling about and redrawing of lines and redistribution of power, that there are people who are standing up and saying, you know what? Power doesn't matter unless you use it for good, And so, yeah, I don't underestimate me, is what basically AOC said. But some of these younger people coming into politics are also saying, don't underestimate us. We are not stuck on a title. We are not stuck on a position. What we're interested in is changing the way in which power works in our country. And that change is going to come. It's going to come.
Coming.
It has to. It has to. And so there is hope there. And I think that the more that the people who don't want to see this change rig situations and rig the electorate to try and block that change, the more that people will respond to that, saying, you know what, you don't get to do this anymore. You don't get to do this. You can rig it any way you want to. We're still going to come out and we're going to make that change happen. And so it will be very interesting.
The tide's coming. It's happening. You can't hold
See
it back.
all of these redistrict voting districts and to see that even though they've been rigged in a particular direction, and in this case, we'll call it the Republican red direction, it will be interesting to see how many people come out anyway and overcome that and move it in that more progressive, that truly progressive, as opposed to this fake progressive that Donald Trump has embraced, but truly progressive, to where all people are recognized as being valued in our society, and that poverty is no longer acceptable. It brings me back to the 1964, which was a year after I was born, and Kennedy has been assassinated, which was, Kennedy was a big hope for many in the United States for a new direction in the way in which power plays out. And Lyndon B. Johnson, who was a good old boy from South Texas, who knew where all the skeletons were and who'd been in the Senate for years and years and years, became president of the United States. And he gave a very, very important speech about the Great Society. And he talked about how that we were on the cusp of a new future where poverty was no longer a concern for us. It didn't have to be, because we could have a great society where no one was impoverished, where all people were recognized for their skills and their abilities, where the government helped people instead of being a burden, and really coming from this white, very, very mainstream politician, lifelong politician, to talk about things like this was phenomenal in 1964, which was 61, 62 years ago.
Not that long.
And not it's my lifetime, basically my lifetime. And to hear and to be reminded of Johnson talking about the possibilities that are laid out before us as a nation. And then to hear someone like AOC today talk about the possibilities that are available to those who run for offices, and that it's not about the office, it's about the possibilities. It reminds me that no matter where we are, and this was just prior to the passage of the 1964 Voting Rights Act, which I find it ironic in many ways that we're now seeing the destruction of the 1964 Voting Rights Act,
Yep.
but that we do operate in cycles, and when things are at their lowest, people come forward and reach higher, and they reach higher, and they build stronger, and they move beyond the hatred, and they move beyond the sadness, and they move beyond the anger, and they reach out irregardless, and they say, you know what? We're more alike than we are different. Let's do something better. And it's hard to resist that.
We're glad you joined us today on The Raven's Nest, finding hope and spirit in interesting times. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like what you hear, give us a big thumbs up. We'll see you next time.